Hello, my name is Jen, she, her, hers, and I am the Club Activities Manager in the AS Club Hub. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to submit an event in WIN. To get started, you'll want to navigate to the Manage view of your organization. For this example, I'm going to use the AS Club Activities Office site. This will look the same for AS program offices, clubs, and any office on campus. Open the Organization menu to see the various tools available and go to Events. Here you will see a list of previous events created by the organization, as well as any that your organization was added to as a co-host. This will be where you can manage your posted event to review and manage things such as RSVPs, attendance, and pre- and post-event forms. To create a new event, click on the blue Create Event button in the top right, enter the event title, which should match other marketing you've created such as posters, banners, and social media posts. Next, you will choose a theme. These themes are hard-coded into the program, so there are limited choices. Choose which fits your event the best. Next is the description section. Put as much information in this section as you can. This will, of course, include a description of the event, so what an attendee might expect, but you should also include any additional information the attendee might want to know. Think of the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who is this event designed for? What is going to happen? Why would I want to go to this event? And how will the information be delivered? This is also a good place to talk about anything additional they should know, such as if they need to RSVP, if there will be a limit on the number of attendees, and if there is a waiting list, where they should buy tickets, and so on. You can create hyperlinks and even embed a video, maybe from a previous year's event. If you are co-hosting with another organization, be sure to add them in here. When you start typing, you'll see other organizations in WIN that match what you are typing. The other organization will not be able to manage your event, but it will show up on their WIN site as well. Next is where you'll enter the date, time, and location. For the physical location option, if your event is on campus, it is best to choose the No, I'd prefer not to show on a map option, as the only address for campus is the 516 High Street. With this option, you'll simply write in the building name and room number of your event. I do recommend spelling out the name of the building rather than using acronyms or building codes. The other location option is online, and you can use both the physical location and the online location options for hybrid events. For an online event, you'll list any instructions for the attendees, such as what platform you're using and any login codes or registration details needed. At the least, you'll need the link for the event listed here. You might also consider asking folks to RSVP for your event, and you can send any private instructions to those that RSVP as a way to minimize uninvited guests. And we'll talk about the RSVP option in a bit. While you cannot create reoccurring events, you can choose to add more dates to your event. And this will replicate what you've entered above. From here, you will choose the next date and make any adjustments. Note that this will replicate everything in your event submission. So if each date has a different context, online links, instructions, and so on, you might consider creating multiple events rather than adding dates to the same event as shown here. The next section allows you to add more detail. The required field here is to choose who will see your event. Public means that you don't have to sign in to WIN to see it. It is a public event. Students and staff at Western Involvement Network means you have to sign in to WIN in order to see it. All students, faculty, and staff are able to access WIN. Organization members means that only those listed on your roster will see the event. So, for example, if a club is having a meeting just for club members, they can choose this as long as all of the club members are on the WIN roster, and it will show in their events listing. And lastly, invited users only means you will send the event to a particular list after it is created. There's a checkbox to allow attendance at this event to be shown on the involvement record. Every student has access to an involvement record in WIN, which stores all organizations you're a part of, every event you've attended, and other items in the system such as path completion. If you'd like your event to be recorded on a student's record, check this box. If you are okay with somebody self-reporting their attendance to your event, check this box. Otherwise, you can take attendance through card swipe, URL attendance, or manually. I'll show that later on in this video. Event categories are ones that have been created just for our campus. Choose a category or categories that best fit your event. If you're finding that events you are planning don't match our options, we can add more or even change the language. There are also 3 perks to choose from: free food, free stuff, and credit. If any of these match your event, choose one or more. Both the event categories and the perks allow students to narrow down which events are appealing to them. For the additional information section, we've asked for ticket information. Choose which one fits best for your event, or choose does not apply if it is something like a club meeting where, of course, there is no tickets or admission needed. If you are selling tickets online through a platform such as the e-market, be sure to add your link here. You may also link that in the event description at the top with instructions on purchasing tickets. You'll see at the bottom here that we include information about disability accommodations, and this section is automatically applied to all events across campus and includes some resources. However, please also include a contact person and their email address in your event description at the top. Your attendees should contact you rather than the Disability Access Center or AS Disability Outreach Center for accommodations. Those offices are there for you to partner with in order to accommodate your guests as needed, but it is your responsibility to fulfill any accessibility needs. Please also consider what is called universal design for all your events, which would include automatic accommodations such as closed captioning for videos and accessible venue access, to name a few ideas. Do your research to assure all events and meetings are inclusive for all. When you are done with this page, choose Next. If you find that it is not moving forward, there is a required field not complete, so be sure to review the whole thing to see what you missed. The next page is for if you'd like to collect RSVP information. You can choose who is able to RSVP and if your event has limited spots available. If you are limiting the number of available spots, you then choose what the maximum number is, and if you'd like to show folks how many spots are available. They'll be able to join the wait list, and you can manage your RSVP list up until the event. We'll go through that later. You can also choose if you'd like guests to attend with someone who is RSVPing. So if I RSVP to your event, you'll be able to see my information and how many guests I'm bringing, but not my guests' information. You can choose how many guests I'm allowed to bring and decide if they should be counted against the limit. If you're wanting to know that your attendees are representing a particular organization on campus, you can ask them to indicate that here. This could be useful for a committee where you want broad representation of organizations to have a voice, for an example. You can also ask folks to answer some questions for you. This could be helpful if you need to know something like t-shirt sizes or dietary needs. Or maybe you'd like to collect some pre-event knowledge that you will assess compared to a post-event survey. Adding a summary here allows you to provide more detail and instruction if needed. You can create as many questions here as you'd like, and there are a few options and there are a few choices of question types available. Text single line is useful for simple answers that they type in. Text area multi-line are for longer typed answers. Radio button is one answer only. Checkboxes is used for multiple answers. And the drop-down will allow you to plug in various choices for a drop-down menu. You can choose to make your question required and provide more details for each question if needed. You can also move questions up or down as needed. Duplicate your question if you have another similar question that just needs a little tweaking, or choose to delete one if you need to do so. The next page allows you to send a post-event feedback form. This can be especially helpful if you'd like feedback about your event and/or if you'd like to assess learning that occurred. You can choose to send the form manually to those who signed in as an attendee, or by checking this box, it will send it automatically at the end of the event. If you've checked the box, attendees will automatically be sent an email to rate your event on a 5-star scale and leave a comment if they'd like. You can also then add more questions to receive more specific assessment. This is the same process as the previous page and as described earlier. Next is where you will add a photo. If you do not add a photo here, a generic one will be automatically shown for your event based on the theme you chose, and those are not exactly eye-catching. It is best to add a photo of something that visually describes your event well. If you have worked with the AS Publicity Center to design marketing for your event, and this is highly recommended, they will create one for you using the specific dimensions needed. If you're promoting a club meeting, you might use your club's logo for this. Side note, the AS Publicity Center can also design a club logo for you and have an event cover photo ready for you if you ask for that. Lastly, for AS program offices and clubs, you will be asked a few more questions so that your event can be reviewed and approved by the appropriate office. AS program offices will be reviewed by the AS Communications Office, and all club events and meetings will be reviewed by the AS Club Activities Office. If your event is a club event or tabling, you will be reminded to complete the event planning checklist if not done already. The final page allows you to review everything if needed, and once ready, don't forget to hit Submit. Once approved, your event will show on the Events tab, and most events will appear on the AS calendar, the Western calendar, and/or on TV screens. If you are a Western department, your event will be automatically approved, and it may take up to a half hour to show on the Events tab. Now that we have reviewed how to submit an event, let's talk about managing your event. You'll find your submissions in the same place you go to create one, in the Manage view of your organization. When in the Manage Events page, you'll see various search options on the left to easily find your event, although your most recent will be at the top as it is sorted by most recent to oldest. To the right of the event listing, the three dots allow you to quickly navigate to viewing or sending invitations and RSVPs, where to add attendance, how to view your event in the Explore view, and to cancel your event if needed. This can also be done by clicking on the event. This top section shows you the basics of your submission, including your profile picture, how to view the event in Explore, review your submission details, all the details of the event, and the event rating if the event has passed and you elected for those to be sent. You can also edit the details and resubmit or cancel the event here. The next section allows you to manage the event attendance. During the event, you can track attendance through a few different options. If you are using Card Swipe, simply click on this link, which copies the code on the previous page, and then hit Submit. And you are ready to start swiping. You'll need a card swiper, and those are available for checkout through the Club Hub office or the Viking Union 6th floor info desk. These can also be purchased through Amazon. There is an effort to replace physical ID cards with a mobile option, so just keep that in mind. You may also add attendance manually through a few options. If they have RSVP'd, you can simply mark them attended here. You can add Western email addresses or their W number in this section and add one at a time or several at once. If you wanted to collect those separately and add them later, you can upload a CSV file here. If you have attendees that are not part of Western, you can collect attendance through this process by using their email addresses. This will help you in sending out feedback after the event because you've collected emails. You can also add their name in the comment section in the Track Attendance page. No matter how you choose to collect attendance, you'll see all attendees listed here as they are added. And lastly, there's also an attendance URL option for online or hybrid events. Click here to copy the URL and then share that in your online space. Attendees will click on the URL, and after signing in, they will be marked attended. They see a message at the bottom of their screen to indicate they've been marked attended, and this could be hard to see. You can double check that they have done this correctly by going to the Track Attendance page, and you'll see their name listed. For in-person events, you can also create a QR code and have your attendees mark themselves by scanning that code with their phone. It is recommended to have a backup system ready using the tools described earlier. If you've opted to use waitlist option when setting up your event, you can manage that in the Invitations and RSVPs page. On the left, you can organize and narrow down your RSVP list. You can export your list here, which will produce an Excel file that lists their name, email, RSVP status, the date that they made the RSVP or were waitlisted, who sent them an invitation if applicable, if they are marked attended, if they have guests and how many, and other answers provided during the RSVP process that you set up. You can also manage participants by inviting specific people or contact those that have RSVP'd. Here you can invite specific members of your organization or invite them using their Western email addresses. To send a message, click on the plus button to write your message and then send. Note that this will only be sent to those who have RSVP'd yes. And a reminder message about the event will automatically be sent, so you don't need to do that. If someone's RSVP needs to be canceled in order to make room for your waitlisted guest, click on their name and choose Cancel RSVP. A message template is shown that you can edit as needed before canceling. Going back to the event details page, at the bottom is where you can manually send your post-event rating and additional questions if you choose that option. Once feedback is collected, you can export the responses here. If you chose for feedback to be sent automatically, that will happen immediately after the event, and you'll be able to export that feedback once responses have been submitted. If your event has been chosen to be a part of a path in WIN, you'll see that listed here, but there's nothing for you to do in this section unless you are managing a path. And next you'll hear from Ryan, who is the current AS Communications Director, who will talk a bit more about event descriptions and using AP style.
Hi everybody, my name is Ryan Morris. I am the AS Communications Director and I use she, her pronouns. I personally edit and approve WIN events for AS programs and offices. So I just want to tell you a little bit about how to write your description for your event in line with AP style and Western's writing style. So to get there, to look at the writer's guide, which is going to have all of the writing rules that we're going to follow, you're going to go to the design system website, which I have pulled up here by Western, and I just scroll on down to the writer's guide, which is under getting started. Click on that and it'll take you to your next page. So this is the writer's guide. It is updated and maintained by Mary Gallagher, who is an employee of Western, and she is wonderful. If you have any concerns about any of the entries here about AP style or Western style, feel free to bring them to me or to reach out to Mary. I have personally talked to her about updating some things for the AS, and she's been great about that. So I'm just going to point out how to use this and also a couple highlights of things that we use a lot that need to be in a specific style. So here you'll see the correct way within Western's writing style and AP style to do things like acronyms, abbreviations, names of buildings, times, dates, etc. And what's great is that you can search these. So I can search times in the description of a post and it'll bring up anything under times. Or I can do that in the title, and it also brings it up. So this is one of the big three things I'm going to be talking about today. So times is the first one. Whenever you're writing a time, you're going to put periods in between P and M or A and M, and you're also going to have a space after the time, as you can see here. You can use noon and midnight alternatively to writing 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. Another one I'm going to talk about is dates. So whenever we're using dates, we typically abbreviate them except for some of the shorter ones. So for example, March is not abbreviated, but February is to Feb, August is to Aug. And you're going to use the numbers for the date, but not put like a TH or an ST after it. So for example, you can see here it says December 27th, and you would read that as December 27th, even though it doesn't have the TH. Yeah, so just to give you an idea of why this is so important, having a consistent writing style is great for the brand of the AS, but it also is more accessible for those viewing our events because they know what to expect from us and they can easily read everything when it is in the same format. In addition to these two entries that I want to point out, I also wanted to say to always include image descriptions in your event descriptions if you have a photo. You know, it's really important for people who need that accommodation to be involved in our events and be able to access them in the same way. So your image description should include any text that's on your image as well as a general description of the imagery. That is all I have for you today. If you have any questions, you can email me or send me a message on Teams at Morri, MORRI74 @wwu.edu or as.communications@wwu.edu. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
We hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about creating events in WIN, please contact the Club Activities Office at as.clubs@wwu.edu or the AS Communications Office, which is as.communications@wwu.edu. Thank you.